So we are going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do something. We're all here together. We might as well do something. So we're going to start by turning around and lying down on your back. Ooh. I am going to eventually make you get up. Yeah, I know I shouldn't have you start this way, but we are going to start this way. Will I do what? Well, we will. We'll definitely do that. But I want you to find a comfortable position for you. So you might just start out in Shavasana, and that might feel nice. You might notice what it feels like to really just allow your body to rest into the floor. And if you've got anything that's immediately in your space, I encourage you to kind of just push it away, just because when things are near you, you can energetically feel them. And sometimes that can impact our ability to just relax. And then once you feel like you've got your body down on the floor, we're going to take 10 breaths. So the first 3, I want them to be loud and big. And you're just big breath in and an audible exhale out. Yeah, and you'll just do 2 more just like that. Big, huge, giant breath in. And then exhale out. And then 1 more big, giant, big breath in. And exhale out. Now for these next 7, you get to do whatever you want. So if that felt comfortable for you to really have a audible sound as you exhale, keep doing that. If you want to make your breath a little quieter, or it feels like it wants to be a little quieter, you go ahead and do that. But we're allowing ourselves to start to settle, to start to ground down. We're in this transitional time seasonally where things are starting to change. And part of it requires that we do allow things to start to drop, to start to melt, to start to change, to transform. And we're going to use this practice as an opportunity to start to cultivate an awareness as well as an acceptance for the fact that things are always changing. Our bodies are always changing, our minds are always changing, our hearts, our relationships, the world around us, as it is always changing. And the more that we can allow ourselves to just fall into rhythm with that, just like you're falling into rhythm with your breath, I think the easier it might make it for us to just go with the flow, as they say. So you should have about 1 or 2 more breath cycles here. And then at the end of this next exhalation, you'll gently just go ahead and bend your knees if they're not, and plant the feet firmly on the floor. Take a moment to settle here and really let your bum be super heavy into the floor. And then on the next exhale, draw 1 knee into your chest. And then draw the other knee into the chest. And wrap your arms around your shin bones, giving yourself a little hug. And you might rock a little right to left. You might stay completely still, but you're just feeling and noticing what you notice. And then we'll go ahead and come to stillness. And I want you to try to kiss your knees with your nose. Kiss your knees with your nose. Kiss your knees with your nose. Fantastic. You're going to start to rock and roll forward and back about 5 times. Forward and back, and forward and back, and forward and back. Yep. And then once you finally get all the way up to sit, you'll come up to sit. Yep, and then you'll turn around. If your knees are sensitive, at this point, you might put a blanket underneath your knees. But we'll find ourselves into our tabletop position, and we'll just pause here for a few moments and a few breaths. And when you find yourself in your tabletop, we're going to find our sad non-California cows. Maybe these are cows that live in some place like Iceland. You're going to drop your belly, you're going to drop your head. And I don't know, Iceland might be very pretty and bright. I have no idea, but I just feel like there's probably not that much sun there. So really drop the belly, yep. Really drop the heart, really drop the head. Press the arms as straight as possible, like you are lifting a 10-ton truck up a hill for some unknown reason. And let your head drop. And we're in Pitta static back. This is the most awkward position on the face of the planet. So if you're like, yeah, Jessica, what are we doing? See if you can melt your heart a little bit more. Yep. And melt your belly a little bit more. And then you'll notice that your buttocks wants to just flare behind you. Let it do that. And let your head drop even more. Press the arms even straighter so you can feel that connection between the hand up through the shoulder joint. And you've got to notice, have you stopped breathing? Maybe, maybe not. And if you have, let's come back to the breath. And as you take these last 3 breath cycles here, can you make your head even heavier? Can you make your arms even more strong and energetic? Can you let the belly be super soft, the rib cage melt towards the floor? On your next exhale, see if you can turn the eyes of your elbows forward and then see if you can turn them back. So you're just turning your elbows forward and back, just like that, Julia. And you've got about 10 of these, and you're just noticing what it feels like in your shoulder joint as you're sort of turning the eyes of the elbows out and then forward. He argues that this is one of those functional movement exercises that we want to do to help our shoulder girdle complex. So if you've been having a lot of shoulder issues, this might be something to explore. And then the next time you come to a neutral position with the arms, go ahead and stay there. Curl your chin to your chest even more. Drop your tailbone, scoop your belly, pulling all the organs away from the floor. And then you're going to round through that upper back quite a bit. Once you're here, press wide through your pinky fingers and feel what that does onto the back of the shoulder blades. And then press into the L shape of your hand, so index finger and thumb, and notice what that does in the chest. Scoop the low belly a little bit more. Drop the tailbone. Nice job. And on your next in-breath, find a cow-shaped pose. Happy cow, normal cow. Good question, Erica. And then exhale, find cat pose. I need another name for that. He calls it static back. You've got 5 of these, so cows and cats, and just noticing what it feels like to sort of ripple and undulate your spine, almost like you're lifting it away from the floor and then dropping it to the floor. How does that connect with your hands? How does that connect with your breath? Great. We've got 2 more sets on your own, really scooping the abdominal organs up and away from the floor as you round your spine. Yeah, nice work. And then after this breath, let's go ahead and find ourselves in a neutral position. Walk your hands about 1 handprint forward. Curl both sets of toes under, gaze forward just a smidge, and then press your bum up and back toward the downward facing dog. For this first one, let's go ahead and keep our knees pretty bent. And then see if you can lift up through your happy inner armpits. Lift your outer hips up, and then you might start to straighten one leg or the other. Yeah, that looks good. And then press into that L shape of your hands again. Great. Fantastic. And then once you're balanced between both sides, let's go ahead and come to stillness and take 3 breaths here. And if you can see your toes, can you make sure your second toe is roughly pointing forward? Your inner edges of your feet are parallel, and you can just feel how that widens or allows the inner thighs to roll back and allows your sacrum to widen. On your next in-breath, let's come forward into plank pose, fallen cosine, happy plank pose. Yay! Okay, so this is not going to be fun, so I'm sorry, but here we go. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, I want you to puff up your upper back even more. Yeah. Spin both of your heels to the left. Keep pushing down with your right hand more than your left. Right hand more than your left. Right hand more than your left. Yep. Next in-breath, come back through center. Send both heels to the right. The inside edge of your left foot comes to the floor. Push down into your left hand more than your right. Left hand more than your right. Left hand more than your right. Fantastic. Inhale, come back through center. On your next exhalation, shift your weight forward. As you exhale, hug your elbows back, reach your heart forward, and lower chest, sternum, and thighs to touch at the same rate. Yay! Awesome. From there, extend the tops of the feet onto the floor. Pull your heart forward, reach your toes back, and then start to curl yourself up into cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Nice job. Now we're going to pause here for a bit. I want you to reactivate your legs. So notice if you can push into your pinky toenail and your big toenail. See if you can isometrically, so that's without moving, pull your hands back and your heart forward. And then notice what happens if you push into the L shape of your hands, spreading wide into your pinky fingers. Haha, yeah, lets you lift the chest a little higher. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale, come up, cobra, whatever height you want. And then exhale, lower back down. One more on your own. Inhale up to cobra. And exhale all the way down. Nice job. Curl your toes under. Press down into your hands. Scoop your low belly in either hands and knees or plank. Yeah, nice job. Yep. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then just take a moment to breathe. And just notice how you are interacting with your breath right now. Notice what things are naturally changing. The body starts to warm, it starts to open as we breathe, as we move, as it changes shapes, as it changes relationship in space. On your next in breath, raise to the balls of your feet. As you exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float top of space. When you get to the top of your space, let's go ahead and separate our feet hip distance apart. Make sure there's enough space for 1 to 2/5 of your own hands to go in between your feet. And then again, make sure your second toe is pointing straight forward. So that might mean you spin your heels out just a smidge. Great. From here, you're going to slowly roll up your spine, bone by bone by bone. And I want you to take the longest amount of time ever. Like for some reason, we're doing one of those slow caption films. And I want to see every millimeter of movement. Look at her hamstrings go. Yep, 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 yep. Flex your hands. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. When you're standing tall and vertical, take a moment to just notice what it feels like there. And then inhale, we'll sweep our arms up and overhead. Fantastic. As you exhale, I want you to touch your head with your right hand. This is going to be odd, but we're going to have a little dance moment. We're going to imagine we're reaching up with our head and then over to the right. So almost like a little teapot, up and over to the right. Yeah, and then just let the right hand drop and continue to reach up through the left arm. And so you're going to reach up through the left arm. You're going to reach down through the right. You're going to press down through the left foot. And suddenly we've got a side body stretch happening here. If you're already like, this is a lot, just kind of stay right here, you stay right here. Otherwise, you might start to reach your left arm over to the right. And suddenly that intensifies things. And then are you breathing? Because maybe we stop doing that. Yep. And then on your next in-breath is bottom arm. The right arm is going to reach you up. Gauge those abs. Lower the arms. Take a moment. How'd that go? Okay. Inhale, sweep both arms up and overhead. Go ahead and touch your head with your left hand. And again, you're reaching up and then out. So almost like we're pouring tea. You're still reaching up through the right arm, and then eventually the left arm will dribble down. And you'll then find that you can reach up through your right arm, like you're having a Tom Cruise moment, and then reach down through your left arm. And if you're happy as a clam here, you're like, yeah, that's a lot of stretch. You might stay there and just push down through your right foot. Or you might start to reach your right arm over to the left, keep rooting down through both feet, and you breathe and soften your face. If your face is like, yeah, I don't like this. When you're ready to come out, the left arm sweeps out and up and find both arms up and overhead. Yay. And then exhale, lower the arms. And then just take a moment to breathe. And maybe you circle the shoulders. Maybe you do none of the above. Cool. We're going to keep adding on. But before we do, please look down at your feet. We want to make sure our second toe is going forward. So for some of us, that means that we do actually need to turn our heels out just a smidge to have our feet hip distance apart. Cool. Now you're going to reach your arms forward, and you're going to sit your butt back. You're going to sit your butt back, and you're going to sit your butt back. Oh, fantastic. And you might be like, yeah, Jessica, this is not fun. I want you to lift your toes up just a smidge at all. Might be. Yeah, I know. Totally true. And then with your toes up, can you shift your weight back to your heels and then lower your toes back down? And then notice that if I start to ask you to lift your arms up and overhead, that's suddenly going to tax your upper back quite a bit. And so if you find that you're like careening your head towards the floor, but your eyes are trying to look up, try to draw your shoulders back just a little bit, and then suddenly your head comes with it. And we'll breathe for 3. Keep the weight even in your toes for 2. Are you breathing for 1? Hug your outer hips in just a little bit more. Yep. Next in breath, stand up, reach up, look up, and exhale, lower the arms down. Okay, let's move on. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. As you exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. From here, inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, and step back plank pose. Pause here. Now, in our plank, again, we're going to spread wide through the L shape of our hands. And we're going to press into the index fingers and the knuckles of our fingertips. Then from there, gaze forward. And as you exhale, lower slower than you want to the floor, slower than you want to. Head, chest, and thighs all touch at the same rate. Elbows swing back, heart reaches forward. Yeah, nice job, guys. From here, Let's pull our heart forward one more time, coming into our baby cobra. This time, we're going to pause here. Again, press into your pinky toes, press into your big toes. I want you to isometrically then pull your hands back and your heart forward, and then hug your elbows closer to your waist, and then see if you can hover your hands an inch or two away from the floor, hugging elbows back, reaching heart forward. Nice job. Exhale, lower down. Curl the toes under, inhale through hands and knees or plank, and then exhale back to downward facing dog. Nice work. 3 breaths. 3 steady, smooth breaths. In this moment, again, check in with your toes. Are the second toes pointing forward? You might need to spin your heels out just a smidge. And then if you turn the heels out just a smidge, yep, it allows that toe to come forward. Nice work. Now, walk your feet closer towards each other, right to left. It'll come in just a smidge. Yep. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Awesome. Reach up through your right heel, root down through your left. On your next exhale, draw the knee to your nose. Pause here for a moment. See if you can hug your hip a little closer to your heel a little closer to your hip. Yep. And then plant your foot between your hands. Nice. Great. From here, some of you are going to want to do one of 2 things. You might want to bring your hands to blocks. You might say, yep, nope, I'm good there. From here, we're going to bring our right hand to our heart. Now, this is going to be odd, but I want you, just like we did with static back, I want you to push so much down into your left hand and then pull your heart forward into your right hand. Now, this is going to sound weird, but you're going to keep pushing your hand into your heart. You're going to start to scoop your belly on the right side, push down into your right foot, hug your outer left hip in, and suddenly we're rotating towards the right. Fantastic. And you are all doing super great here. Now, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is push even more into your heart. You notice that the heart can go forward, and as you push down into your left hand, then you rotate the spine, and you just pause and you breathe. Nice work. On your next in-breath, unwind. Plant both hands on the floor or blocks, your choice. Spin your left foot to the floor for Virabhadrasana 2, and then inhale, come up to Warrior 2. Yeah. And the first thing we're going to do is let's check in with our front foot. Make sure our knee is going over the center of our second and third toe. And then notice how wide your feet are. You don't have to change them, but just look and notice how wide they are. Extend out through your arms when you're ready. And then just as we did before, you'll allow your left hand to touch the side of your left leg. You'll reach up for your right arm. And we're going to take our little side bend. So the first thing, we're going to reach up and then we'll let the head trickle down over. And then if you want to, you can reach back. And you just notice what you notice. Can we continue to bend into our front knee as we hug our outer right hip straight back? Great. Inhale, come back up to Warrior 2. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands to the floor. Pause. This would be a great opportunity to put your blanket under your back knee. Awesome. Once we find ourselves here, we're going to lower our back knee down. Many of us are going to wiggle walk our right foot about an inch to the right. Then we're going to bring our right hand to the top of our right thigh, and you're going to bend your left knee. You'll take your left hand, reach around and grab your left heel. Now, first thing you're going to do is just draw your heel to your butt to your heel. Great. Push down into your front foot, push down into your back knee, hug those points together. Draw your left shoulder up, draw the left shoulder blade together on your back. And then see if you can find a little bit more space, a little bit more ease. And make sure your right foot feels like it's kind of like a suction cup on the floor. The big toe especially is what kind of roots you down. When you're ready, gently release. Bring the hands back to the floor. Straighten your back leg long and step yourself back to downward facing dog. Take a moment, take a breath. The blanket fairy is going to come around and move the blankets. Those at home, you don't have a blanket fairy, so you'll have to maybe imagine there is one, or just leave your blanket there. Next in-breath, come forward, plank pose. As you exhale, spin your heels to the right. Okay, this time I want you to push down into your right hand and then start to lift your underside hip and maybe lift your left arm up. Yep. When you're ready, draw the left hand back down. Draw your heels back to center. Spin your heels to the left. Push down into your left hand. Float your right hand up. Nice job. Lower the hand back down. If you need to lower the knees, lower the knees. You'll shift your weight forward and come through onto your belly. All the way down. Great. From here, send your hands back alongside your hips, palms face down. Press down into your toenails and then inhale, draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulders onto your back. Scoop your low belly just a smidge. Press your pubic bone down and then see if you can lift your chest away from the floor. Then see if you can lift your arms away from the floor. Then see if maybe you can lift your legs away from the floor. And then notice if you want to hug the shoulder blades onto the back, the heart reaches forward. For 3, keep breathing. For 2, for 1, exhale, lower all the way down. Plant your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Curl your toes under. Draw your low belly in. Inhale through hands and knees or plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Check in with your second toe. Make sure it's still pointing forward. Great. And then let's go ahead and go to the other side. Inhale, walk your feet a little closer, and then sweep your left leg up and overhead. Take a moment to pause here, pulling the outer right hip back as you lift up through the left heel. Yep. Exhale, knee to nose. Hover and pause, rounding your spine, kissing your knee, and then step your foot between your hands. Nice. From here, again, hands might come to blocks. And then we're going to bring our left hand to our heart. Left hand to our heart. Make sure your right hand is directly underneath your right shoulder. It'll make this next bit a little bit easier. So with the right hand underneath the right shoulder, left hand on the heart, you're going to pull your heart forward, push down into your left foot, lift up through your inner right thigh. And as you push your heart into your left hand pushes back into your heart, you push down into your right hand a lot, you scoop the belly on the left side, you can start to rotate in the upper thoracic spine. That looks really nice, guys, towards the left. And you keep pushing your chest into your hand, yep, and you pull the hand back into the heart and you rotate to the left. Great. Next, in breath, go ahead and unwind, lower the hands to the floor, spin your back foot to the floor and bring yourself up for warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. And then check in. What's going on with the front foot? Are the toes still pointing forward? Is that knee still aligned there? And are we guiding our outer left hip back? How wide are our feet? Great. When you're ready, reach up through your left arm. Like the little teapot, the head reaches up and back towards the right. The right arm slides down towards the right foot. And then you might start to reach the left arm back behind you to intensify your side body stretch. Next, in breath, come back up through center. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands to the floor. Pivot to the ball of your back knee. Great opportunity to replant your blanket because the blanket fairy took it away. And then you're going to lower your back knee down. Okay, now for this one, again, we're going to wiggle walk our left foot a little bit to the left. Left hand comes to the top of the left thigh. And then bend your right knee, reach around and grab the outside edge of your right heel with your right foot. And then draw your butt back towards your heel, heel towards your butt. Now again, we're pushing down through our points of contact. So right knee pulls forward, left foot pulls back. Right shoulder comes up, right shoulder pulls back. And you just pause and you breathe and you see and you notice how this feels on your quadricep on the right side. Nice work. Very gently release your right foot. Hands come down towards the floor, straighten the back leg along, and step yourself back to downward facing dog. Pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. I got you, Erica. Pause and breathe. Pause and breathe. Roberta, All right, inhale, come forward into plank pose. As you exhale, lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale into a cobra or an up dog, your choice. And then you'll exhale and make your way back to downward facing dog. And then you just notice, how is that working out? As you're pressing into your hands, notice if the heels of your hands can remain light. As though I wanted to slide a piece of paper or maybe a dollar bill underneath there. How do you create space for that to come to you? All right, take a big breath in. On your next exhale, empty everything out. Inhale to the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend the knees, empty the belly, step or float, top of space. Fantastic. Once you get there, again, separate your feet hip distance apart. Make sure your second toes are pointing straight forward. So that may mean you spin your heels out just a smidge. And then you'll slowly roll up your spine again. And see if you can make this time even slower. Even slower. We're making those hamstrings work here because they're pulling you down. And then you're rolling up the spine, bone by bone, by bone by bone, by bone by bone. Yeah, relax your fingers because sometimes they crimp up. I want to act like toes or something. I'm like, if I could do this, rip it right here. Great. And then you'll stand, you'll notice what you feel like. Okay, moving on. Inhale, circle, sweep arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step back, downward facing dog. Great. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. As you exhale, draw the right knee to your nose. Plant the right foot between your hands. Pause. Bring your hands to your blocks. Spin your left foot down for warrior one. And we'll take our left foot a little bit to the left. And then you're going to push down into your back foot, push down into your front foot, draw your outer right hip back, and bring yourself up for warrior one. Cool. Well, we're going to pause here. Let's all bring our hands to our hips. We want to make sure that if we are driving, our hip bones are going forward, but our back leg is externally rotating. So we let the thigh bone externally rotate. Hips will come forward, but the back leg externally rotates, kind of like an arabesque. And you'll go ahead and reach both arms up and overhead. And sometimes it feels nice to reach your arms up and interlace the fingers and reach up almost like you're trying to lift your ribs out of your hips and maybe your chest out of your ribs and just look up. Great. As you're ready, we're going to go ahead and bring our gaze back to neutral, straighten your front leg long, drop your right hand to your right hip. Now, with your right hand, you're going to actually pull your right hip back. Check in with your left foot. I notice that I have to spin my left heel out just a smidge to make this happen. So notice if that's true for you. You'll reach up and then you'll reach forward and you'll reach out, lowering that left hand to a block or floor underneath your left shoulder. Great. Now, from here, you'll pull your heart forward. So lift your spine parallel to the floor. Isometrically pull your left hand back like you're a tiger clawing the mat. So you're pulling that back, you're pulling your heart forward, and then you'll start to rotate your rib cage towards the right. So almost like you had your hand on your heart again, you're rotating, but you're pulling your right hip back, you're reaching your heart forward, you're reaching your ribs towards the right. Fantastic. And then you'll pause and you'll breathe. And you'll pause and you breathe. And some of you will stay here with your hand on your hip. Some of you will reach that arm up and overhead. And the best way to think about this shape is that we are attempting to find length first. We find that engagement by pulling back, and that's what allows our spine to spiral. Fantastic. Go ahead and lower that top hand down. Bend your front knee. Reposition your back foot for warrior two, and then come back up to warrior two. Yeah. Now this time in warrior two, I want you to see how long you can make your warrior two. And our first pass is going to be on this front leg. We're pulling our outer right hip back. We're seeing if we can root down into our back left foot, and we'll see if we can extend out through our arms like we're a happy butterfly or bird. Yeah, squeeze your right butt cheek just a little bit. There we go. And we're going to happily stay here. We'll inhale, reach up through our right arm, and then Again, find Viparita Virabhadrasana and just notice if you descended or pulled away from that front leg and see if you can keep it about the same. On the next inhale, come up to neutral. Now, some of you may look down at your feet and be like, this is too much for me. So you'll wiggle walk your back foot in just a smidge. You're going to reach out through both arms, straighten both legs long, and then shift your pelvis back, again, like a little teacup, lowering the right hand down to shin blocker floor, and then extend up with your left hand. And again, just like when we had our hand on our heart, which you can try this, you pull forward, and then you rotate. Pull forward and rotate. Fantastic. My hyperextended people or hypermobile people, make sure there's a slight bend. And the best way to do that is think of your right shin bone going forward. It's not just you, it's me. It's one of those things that I have to make sure I keep up with. So you're good. On your next in-breath, go ahead and lower the hand down. Pivot to the ball of your back knee. Again, lower the back knee to a blanket if you'd like. And then we're going to lower the back knee down. Now, we're going to go ahead and repeat what we did before. So we'll wiggle walk our right foot a little bit to the right. You're going to bend your left knee. With the right hand on the right thigh, sweep back with the left hand, grab the left foot, and then hug those points together. And then in this variation of King Arthur, just notice if we can draw that left shoulder up and the left shoulder blade back and the heart lifts, and you just pause and you breathe. And then you just see, where can we soften? Whoa. Great. When we're ready to come out, gently release the left foot, lower the hands back down to the mat, tuck the back toes under, straighten the back leg long, and then go ahead and step yourselves back to downward facing dog. What? Did I say the wrong leg? No, I followed you. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm like, what happened here? All right. And then we're just going to pause and we're going to breathe. I've noticed that a lot. Like I take classes with teachers that don't show things, and sometimes they say the wrong leg and then I'm very confused, or they do the exact opposite of what they said and then I'm confused. So you're good. Awesome. From here, let's go ahead and inhale, come forward into plank. As you exhale, lower slower than you want to, all the way onto your belly. Slower than you want to. Great. This time, we're going to keep our hands right next to our rib cage, but I want you to slide them back 1 inch. Then press down into the tops of your toenails and straighten your legs super long. From here, claw your fingertips into the mat and start to pull your heart forward just a little bit. Now, draw the shoulder blades onto your back and notice if that allows you to lift the chest. Great. Pull the hands back, pull the heart forward a little bit more and see if you can lift your chest a little higher. Awesome. Pull your hands back, pull your heart forward, see if you can lift the chest a little higher. Pull the hands back, pull the chest forward, see if you can lift a little higher. Nice job. And you breathe for 3. You hug the elbows back for 2. Next exhale, lower all the way down. Fantastic. Curl both sets of toes under. Draw the low belly in, and either through hands and knees or plank. And then back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. 3 breaths. And then you just notice. Notice what you notice. Notice if for you, it might feel better to bend the knees a little bit. Notice if for you, it might feel better to widen the feet a little bit further apart. I don't know if you stayed for this, Roberta, but Mother Lizzie this week was talking about, prayer. And she was talking about how we have to make prayer our own. But at the end of the conversation, I had to mention to her that sometimes to make things our own, whether it's an art form, whether it's a sport, whether it's our spirituality, it requires a certain level of experience to know what things we can change, what things we can modify. That transformation comes from having a firm foundation in something. And that's only something we can get with age, with experience, with time. So we're going to go ahead. Some of you are in child's pose, so by all means, stay there as long as you'd like. When we're ready to move on, we'll inhale and sweep our left leg up and back. As you exhale, draw the knee to the nose and then plant the foot between the hands. Nice job. From here, let's bring our hands to our blocks. And then we'll go ahead and look back at our right foot. Step our right foot just a smidge to the right. Spin the heel down so the toes still sort of point forward. And then we're going to start to pull more weight into our left foot, right foot, and bring ourselves up to center. So when we find ourselves, our feet aren't on a tightrope, they're kind of more parallel. And then we can find that we can steer our hips by drawing our outer left hip back and our right hip forward. And then find that external rotation in the right thigh. And then if you're happy there, you stay there. You might reach the arms up and overhead. And then you might interlace the hands and extend up. And you're really just trying to root down through the legs so that the arms can become super light. And you lift up by having that firm foundation. Nice. When you're ready, go ahead and straighten the front leg, bring the gaze back to vertical, and drop your left hand to your left hip. Now, pulling that left hip, you're going to pull it back. You're going to reach forward and out through your right hand, and then lower the right hand down to the block or the floor underneath your, right shoulder. Awesome. And then from here, we're going to take a moment to pause. And then from here, we're going to take a moment to pause. So you're going to pull your left hip back with your left hand. You're going to lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. And with that right hand, almost like a tiger or a dog or something, you're actually pulling that right hand back, reaching the heart forward, pushing down through the right hand a lot. And then you can start to rotate your rib cage towards the left. And, again, you're imagining hand is on the heart as you pull your hip back and you rotate towards, rotate towards the left. And some of you will stay there happy as a clam, hypermobile people. Yep. And then you might reach up through that top arm. Imagine this part comes forward. As that part goes back. Different, yeah. Yeah, but the leg is engaged. Okay. And then you pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. On your next exhale, go ahead and lower all the way down. Bend your front knee. Spin the back foot down for Virabha 2, and then we'll come up for Warrior 2. Jenny, remind me to come back to that in just a minute. And then we're just going to pause here. And again, we want to make sure that we've got a super long stance for us. Sometimes we keep it really tiny. And we want to check in with our front foot. I notice that my toe has to come in a little bit because otherwise I'm not in alignment for me. And we'll stay there. Root down into your back right foot. When you're ready, inhale, reach up and take Virabhadrasana. Keep drawing that outer left hip back. And then notice how we can find the side body stretch on that left side. Great. Inhale, come back up through vertical. As you exhale, we're going to wiggle, walk our back foot in just a little bit for some of us. And then straighten both legs long. Reach out through both arms. Shift your pelvis back. And then go ahead and reach out through the left arm, lowering left hand to block, shin, or floor. And then your right hand comes up. And then that same little action, we're going to see if we can push down through our feet. This part comes forward and that part comes back. Yeah. And then you just pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. Nice work. On your next in-breath, draw the right hand to the floor, low lunge. Pivot to the ball of your back knee, lower your back knee down. Wiggle walk left foot a little bit to the left. And then we're gonna bring left hand to the top of left thigh, bend right knee, reach around with right hand, grab right foot, right heel and glute come together. And then you wanna push down to right knee, push down to right foot, tuck those points together, and then check in with your pelvis. I notice that if I drop my tailbone down, it intensifies the stretch that I feel on this side. And my hip flexor people, do you feel it up here or do you feel it more in the quad? Quad. Okay. And then we'll pause and we'll breathe. Very gently release that back foot. Lower the hands down. Step back into plank pose. And then cycle through an up dog or cobra as you want. And then we're going to sit down and do a little demo do to talk about something I just did to Jenny, but I think all of us would probably want to do at some point. Cool. So when we are people at home, may I go on? Okay. So when we're in poses like triangle, in order to make sure that we don't hyperextend, and this like comes to a lot of our poses, we want to think of the top of our shin bone going forward and the top of our thigh bone going back. It just allows us to engage the kneecap without hyperextending it. Like that looks fine, but I'm actually hyperextended there. And so if I can send the top of the shin bone back and the bottom of this one back, it keeps it where it's straight. And it's a lot of work, and my legs are not liking doing that. And it applies in all of our shapes, actually, like even when we're in Tadasana. So that's where we're all going to try it. So stand up. I want you to, again, stay hip distance apart, and our middle toes, or our second toe rather, is pointing straight forward. So sometimes that means your heels have to go out just a smidge. Julianne, can I touch you? So this especially for you. We're going to think of this part going forward slightly. So top of shin bone goes forward, and then the bottom of the thigh bone goes back in opposition. Ha-ha! Look at this. Does that feel different? Okay, if it doesn't. Yes, exactly. And that will help you in your balance because you can stay there. It'll also help you with your turns because you can stay there. So I'm going to go and try this with everybody. I want you to, except for people at home. I'm sorry, I can't touch you through the screens. I really wish I could. But top of thigh bone or top of calves go back, bottom of thigh, damn it, top of calves go forward, bottom of thighs go back. Yeah. How's that feel? Okay. And then this is actually related to what we're doing today. I'm sorry, I got distracted, but well, that goes forward. And then this comes back. Yeah. And do you notice how that widens your sacrum there a little, Jenny? Okay. What does it feel like?
Like it's mad at me. Like very little, like just like a little like.
Cool. Can you remind me of that? And the next time we'll do some adductor and abductor work. She's like, I wish I hadn't said that. Okay, so this is going forward just a little bit, and then this is coming back.
Your bottom of your quad is working.
Yes. Because the calf is going forward, but this is going back. So you're still finding straight, but you're not going hyperextended. It's trying to find both of the parts working evenly, which kind of shifts your weight a little bit. And you're like, what the heck is going on? You want to lean back and you're like, stop. All right, well, let's see how this works. So starting in position, arms reach forward, send your butt back. Okay, now this is working us up because we're going to go into a balancing pose. So I want you to hug your outer hips towards each other. So you're going to squeeze your outer hips, and you'll notice that that'll widen your knees a little bit. And then you'll reach your arms forward, and then see if you can lift your head up just a little bit, chest up. Great. We'll just breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. Go ahead and stand up, reach up, maybe look up. And then exhale, lower the hands down. Go ahead and soften the gaze or close the eyes and just notice how your feet feel. Notice how the weight is transferring from your pelvis through your legs through your feet. Notice how the spine is stacking on top of that, shoulders sliding down the back, how the head is, how the neck is. Great. Bring your hands to heart center. Shift the weight to your right foot. Start to float your left leg up. Great. You're going to squeeze your outer left butt to externally rotate your left leg. See how you can touch your left leg to your right, or left foot to your right leg, wherever it touches. If that's not where you want it, use your left hand and reposition. Okay, now this is where that action comes in. The bottom of your right shin, or sorry, top of your right shin is going to go forward. Bottom of the right thigh bone is going to go back. Your inner right pubic bone is going to reach down. Heart presses up into sternum. Sternum presses into heart. Some of you will stay here. Some of you might start to grow your tree for Vrikshasana. And the purpose of this isn't to be still necessarily, but to notice all the movements that are naturally going. In order for growth to happen in whatever way, there's always a little bit of movement, a little bit of change. Our bodies, our breath tell us that. Yeah, when you're ready to come out, hands come back to heart center and gently release. How'd that go? Okay. We'll try it on the other side. So shift the weight to your left leg, hands come to heart center. Then you engage the core a little bit to float that right leg up. You'll start to squeeze your right butt cheek to open the right leg out. And then wherever you can put the right foot on the left leg, you go there. If it's not where you want it, you have to reposition that thing. And then you come back. And then we notice, can the top of our right shin bone come forward? Can the bottom of our left shin bone come forward? Bottom of left thigh bone go back. Inner left thigh reaches down, heart reaches up. And then if you'd like, you try growing your arms up, and movement is great. Well, yeah, but what do they say? The trees that don't move with the wind are the trees that break? Is that not what they say? Yeah. So you are the trees that are moving with the wind. You move and you move and you won't break. We're good. Okay. And then when you're ready, you'll come down. Okay. Come back to stand at the top of your space. Inhale, circle sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step yourself back, downward facing dog. If you'd like, cycle through an up dog or cobra. And then go ahead and lower your knees down. Another demo do. Okay, so this is our key action for today. So, just go ahead and push on your chest. This is your key action for today. Key action because we're going to try wild thing. And in order to make this happen, you really want to have the chest lift up into it, that arms push down. So that's what we're going to do. So, people at home, hopefully this looks like you should be able to see me. Okay, so we're going to do all the things we did before. We're going to push down. We're going to come into that side plank. You're going to notice that I'm going to tell you to lift your butt a little bit higher than I normally would. You're going to shift both heels over to one side. Okay. And then you're going to spin one foot down and bring the other hand immediately to your chest. You're going to push down through that hand. Push the other hand into the chest, and it allows you to get some leverage. From there, the chest just starts to open, and then you might start to reach the arm up and away. Questions? Do we want to try it? Do I need to do the other side? Great. Okay. So you're going to start with your right foot. So let's come to planky pose. Happy planky pose. Lift your tuchus a little higher than normal. Send both of your heels over to the left. Great. Sorry, over to the right. I got confused. Fantastic. Now from here, you're going to go ahead and push into your right hand. Step your left foot back behind you. Put the sole of the foot on the floor. Bring your right hand to your chest. Left, damn it. Okay. Whatever hand is on top, bring that hand to your chest. Push down into your bottom hand a lot. Push down into your bottom foot a lot. Push your hand to your chest, and then you'll start to find the lift. And then once you find that, you might reach your top hand forward. Yeah, you're good. And then come out of it when you're ready. So yes, that is your right leg. How'd that go? So people at home, Jenny said that was the best one she's done in a while, but it was hard. Any other thoughts? Okay, we'll try the other side then. I don't know. Have you ever done this before?
Yeah.
Okay. Ready? How does it feel on the floor? Because it's a little bit more like a dance studio. Okay, do it on the floor. And then go ahead and try the other side. I mean, that's probably why I don't use a mat. And then go ahead and try it on the other side. And you're going to take your time. So you want to make sure the weight is in the bottom hand first. Then you lift your underbutt hips up. You step the top foot back behind you. You bring that same top hand to your heart. Push down into your bottom hand first. Push your hand actively into your heart. Pull your heart forward into the hand. And then maybe you lift the arm up. And then when you're ready, that looks great, Barbara. Come out of it when you're ready. Lower down. Are we happy with that? What happened? Wow, we did the same exact thing. Well, okay. That is true. We have an imbalance. Okay, so you guys go back to downward facing dog, and then we'll make our way to child's pose to rest. So you down dog, you might cycle through, and then you'll go into child's pose when you're ready. And then people at home, I'll ask you a little bit later how it went. Then you have to mute and unmute yourselves. Fantastic. And then you'll just take a few breaths in child pose when you're ready. You can stay in down dog if you're happy there. Great. Take 2 more breath cycles here. Awesome. Let's go ahead and walk our spines up to sit. We're going to now take a dolphin pose just so we have an inversion. So again, we'll bring our forearms down to the mat. What? Ah, okay. Bring our forearms down and we're going to take a prayer position. And we want to walk our elbows a slight bit in towards our midline. So a little bit more narrow than our shoulders. And then you're going to push down into your elbows and catch your skin against your mat as you widen out. Then draw your chin to your chest, rounding in like little Halloween cats. Keep pushing down into your forearms as you round your spine more than you think you need to. Yep. Curl your toes under. Keep the rounding of your upper back as you lift your butt up. Yep. Keep pushing down into your forearms. Keep rounding your upper back, and you might walk your feet in just a little bit. And it sounds weird, but you really round your upper back. Yeah, and then that allows you to lift your tuchus a little higher. Great, guys. When you've had a couple breaths there, you'll go ahead and come down. Roberta, how's that feel on your shoulders? Yeah, it looks good. I just know you've been having all this stuff on your shoulders and your elbows. So, okay. Oh, good. All right. And you'll take a breath in child pose again. And then we'll go ahead and come up to sit. You can sit on a blanket if you'd like or not, but you'll extend your legs long in front of you. Okay. And then we're going to keep our feet hip distance apart. Go ahead and remove any of the flesh from underneath your sit bones. And then we're just going to reach forward and see if we can grab our feet. Great. And then from here, holding onto your feet, you're pulling your heart forward through the gates of your arms. And some of you will stay happy as a clam there, finding as much length through your spine. Some of you will start to hinge a little bit more from your hips, and you'll notice that your chest comes closer to your thighs. And some of you will allow your head to fall between the holes of your legs. But your legs are active. Your heels are pushing down into the floor. They're pulling back. And you're just taking a few breath cycles here in this introspective pose, just noticing what you notice happening here. Pinky toes are pulling back, big toes are pressing forward, or big toe mounds rather. Yeah. And then when you're ready to come out, you'll start to slowly walk your hands back towards your hips. You'll start to externally rotate the thighs, hold or draw the feet in towards your chest. And again, we'll pull the ankles back, we'll pull the heart forward, and you can hinge forward just a smidge here. You might notice that one of your knees, it comes up a little higher than the other. I tend to the one that comes up higher for me is my left. So I try to pay more attention to that one, but you choose what's working for you. You just pause and you breathe, and the spine is long, the breath is easy. Yeah. Okay. Gently come out of that. We're going to bring our hands back behind us, slide our legs forward, and open our legs out. Don't worry, Julianne, we're not doing that horrible thing you do in dance class. Yeah, that's one of those things I do not miss. And then we're going to just hinge ourselves forward. It's funny the things that you do when you're younger and you're like, yeah, I don't miss that anymore. I miss jumping, but I don't miss that. You're jumping on gym mat. Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. People at home, Julian was telling us a story about one of her teachers making them jump on mats on top of concrete, um, in ballet. Yeah. Mm, no, we're gonna go ahead and gently come out of this now. Now to come out of this, I do encourage you kind of using your hands like little hooks and hooking the legs together. And then you're gonna turn around and lie down on your backs. Yeah, no, I feel like there was a choreographer I danced for a while. We had to dance a lot on concrete. That was like the worst. I did not enjoy that. You know, it is a bad idea, but like your shin bones feel it the most. And you're just like, yeah, that's one of those things that changes when you get older. You're like, I'm not gonna do that. Not doing that, no. But when you're younger, you're right. You have to do what they tell you. Okay. When you find yourself on your back, I want you to just bend your knees to start. And I want you to have your arms off your body just for a moment. I want you to feel your back body. Can you feel how your shoulder blades can sort of rest into the floor? Can you notice what's happening in your sacrum? Can it melt into the floor? And some of you will stay right here, happy as a clam. Some of you will draw your knees into your chest. And you might take some circles with your hips, or rather, I guess, with your thigh bones and your hips. And then you'll go ahead and come to a still and neutral spot. You might find constructive rest for a few breaths. You might go back to that position we were just in for a few breaths. But I want you to just check in. So, one of the things that is actually kind of helpful about change is that we can choose to respond differently. We can make things more personal, more unique, more individual according to our own specific needs, wants, and desires. And so, as you're in whatever this shape is, I'd like you to ask yourself, what is it that would feel personal, that would feel comforting, that would feel restorative, or as a type of completion for you at this moment? And you'll go ahead and explore that. We've laid the foundation for us to do all the things that we needed to try our peak pose for today. We did things to technically unwind from a sequencing perspective. But what would be the cherry on top for you? What would allow you to feel like you can fully rest into your own state of being, your own state of comfort? And so some of you might take twists. Some of you might take happy babies. Some of you might do figure fours or thigh roots. I see you, Robin. That's a great choice. And you just notice what is appropriate for you. And if you've done something one side, you might choose to explore the other side as well. It's interesting though, like if you had scoliosis, you might not choose to do the other side, but that's not for all shapes as well. More like your side planks. That was loud. And then when you feel complete, exploring all the different things that you wanted to do for you, you'll start to make your way to your final resting pose. If you want to cover the body, cover the body. If you want to use your props. Those at home, if you have a couch or a wall you would like to use, by all means do that. And then we're gonna start this, or rather end our practice in the same way that we started. So first thing you do is just see how you need to fidget to get comfortable. Once you've found your spot, you'll just allow yourself to settle into that still neutral spot. And then just like we started, you'll take a big breath in through the nose and a big breath out through the mouth. And you'll do two more just like that. And your last one, big breath in and big breath out. And then for these next 10 breaths, I want you to just continue to fall into gravity. And so I mean that both physically, literally, as well as metaphorically. How can you allow every breath to allow you to settle, to drop, to go with this natural force that is here right now? So in that literal sense, you're really dropping in, you're settling into the earth. And then metaphorically, how can we allow every breath to let us drop more into us, into the essence of who we are, the person that I think we were all innately born as, that curious, loving, generous, excited, happy baby that somehow we've learned wasn't always safe to be, wasn't always wanted, or I don't know, acceptable, or whatever society tells us, where we stop being our full self. I think that as we age, we gain that experience and we can let go of those trappings and drop back into being more of who we are, so that our own gifts that were always there just for being ourselves start to come to the surface. And so as you're here for these last few breaths, I'll leave you with you, and I just encourage you to just continue to soften, to continue to let go, to fall in, so that you can come out. I'll leave you here for a bit and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When you are ready to move on, allow movement to enter into your form. Whatever way feels curious, interesting, comforting, fun, alive for you. Pose in stillness, again, stay as long as you'd like. Pose in movement, you'll start to make your way to one of your sides. You'll pause for a few breaths on that side, just allowing your vestibular system to start to reawaken. And then you'll roll your chest slightly towards the floor, press into your top hand, walk your hands back towards your pelvis, and draw yourself up to a seat. When you are vertical, please elevate your bum on a block or a blanket. And then it's helpful, if it's helpful, remove the flesh from underneath your sit bones. Plant the hands wherever is comfortable for you. And then spread wide through your base, a little wide through the pelvis, through the sit bones, the pubic bone, the tailbone. And then notice what it feels like. So stack those vertebrae right on top of each other, every single one. To broaden across the collarbones, to allow the shoulders to soften down, and then as though you had a string out of the center of your crown that lifts straight up. The ears draw back, the jaw softens. And you just take 3 breaths here. Every facet of life is always about change. And I don't know about you, but I fight that with a 10-foot pole or a stick or a club or some type of giant weapon thing. I fight change. And like, if I can control it, I can make it perfect. And that doesn't work. Instead, the more that we can trust that no matter what change happens, we will be okay. And no matter how things shift, that we are always being cared for, and that we will always have the capacity to show up as the best person that we are able to for that given moment. I think it might help us just be a little bit more open to things not going as we had planned. So as you take your last 4 breath cycles here, I want you to think about whatever is in flux in your life right now, whether it's a physical thing, a mental thing, an emotional thing. And see how you can just breathe in 3 big breaths, saying, I can be a bit softer with myself about this. I can trust myself a bit more with this. I can trust others a bit more with this. When you complete your 3 breaths, bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Receive the weight of your thumbs into your sternum. Really lift your sternum into your thumbs, and then soften the breath out of your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light and the breath, that part of me that is always changing, salutes the light and the breath, the part of you that is always changing. Namaste.